Well, Dan, we surely do appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule right now to sit down with us, get a chance to know you, meet you, hear what you think on some of these issues that will be unfolding. But before we dive into all that kind of stuff,
Okay.
if somebody was to meet you on the street and ask the question, who's Dan McQueen, what would you say?
Who's Dan McQueen? Boy, when you're as old as I am, who Dan McQueen is a compiled group of military, martial arts, business, technology, and a little bit of coffee now and then.
Yeah.
But that's who I am. I'm a person for the people. I'm a person that believes that you got to work your way up, but you got to have a path. And if people don't see a path, then nobody's going to know where they're. The simple fact that I acknowledge that, okay, that I can see that, and so I would love, and I said this the other day at a forum, I would love to start managing a brand new city, because boy, would that be sweet, okay?
From the
Here
ground
we
up.
are. I've got to learn how to transition what you asked, transition my leadership to teaching old people, okay? And I don't mean to be mean, but set in their ways, very dominant, territorial, okay? And don't have the bandwidth, I like to say, to understand things that aren't within their realm, okay? And I'm an old person. I like to pride myself on having a wide bandwidth, being open-minded, okay, to new information, because I find that every time I do that, I can see another perspective. Not that I believe it, not that I agree with it, but
sure.
I can see it, okay? And I can do a comparative analysis. As an engineer, I do that a lot. And I can try to assess data to where there's value or not value. So I think I bring that.
As we actually look at our city, and one of the things that I kept thinking about when I was getting ready to sit down with you was our recent water crisis issue.
Right.
When you first heard about that, what was your initial reaction?
Where am I getting my coffee?
Oh,
Okay.
goodness.
I was like most of everybody in this city, saying, wait a minute. When I look at the pyramid, water is like the most important element of a human being.
Most definitely.
How am I not going to have water? And then another day goes by, and I'm starting to think, okay, now you've not only impacted my survivability,
Yeah,
and I got to get a realignment. Okay, you didn't just do it with a layer of bad beef that came out, and so we can eat chicken. Okay, you did it with water. Okay, and if you look at what all of our bodies are comprised of, I'm thinking to myself, okay, once, twice, are you kidding me? Why have we not figured out the matrix for success to our complacency? Okay,
Without a doubt.
because having looked at the issue, it's truly a complacency issue. Okay, it is a continued decay and decline of concern for any job. Okay, it's a customer service aspect. Okay, if you walk into a restaurant and all of a sudden the host or whatever, doesn't give you the proper attitude or whatnot, you're going to walk out. You can't drink
something
water.
daily needed for substance.
Yeah, and I don't mean to laugh, but when leadership takes such a view of something is vital, is water, it concerns me. Okay,
Without a
concerns
doubt.
me.
So would you say that perhaps the solution to attacking that issue or making sure that that doesn't happen again is increased leadership and vigilance at perhaps the processes and making sure that that doesn't happen again?
Yes. I'll give you the short one.
One of the things that we want to make sure of, I think, in the leadership of the city is that type of thing doesn't happen again. How would you as mayor make sure that type of thing doesn't happen again?
Yeah, and that's a perfect question to look at a contrast, okay? So do you want to continue to be in the same position every day, or do you create the plan for continued growth and progression, okay? And what we have seen here in our city is we've seen a continued decline and decay, okay? with everything, okay?
Unfortunately.
With everything, unfortunately. So it's truly a mindset of focusing on managing something in the future that you want to create, okay? It's not about crisis management. Today, what are our crises and how are we going to react? How are we going to get the money for that? And we got to put an emergency funding apparatus in place. And so it's really about having a vision that is beyond the day. It's beyond tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's about, okay, what are the process steps to get us where we need to be? Okay? What is it that you want as citizens? What do you want to do in your future? Okay, because I know you don't want to do what you're doing today. Okay?
Exactly.
And so if you're not looking at how to build that, if you don't have the bandwidth to know what can be built, if you don't have the tools or the education to build it, well, then you're limited. And you've limited the entire development of an entire society.
Most definitely. Most definitely. That makes that. Dan McQueen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir.
I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
And again, registration to vote is October 11th, and we surely do appreciate your time, Dan.
Thank you.
Great sport. And I